Evening or night, fans of Overwatch. My name is Pat, and I'm joined by Sverno.
Hey everybody.
And welcome back to the Fruit Bowl cast. Today we're going to be looking at King's Row between the Toronto Defiant and the San Francisco Shock. Toronto picked up map 1 in the series, winning 2-1 on Oasis, before San Francisco Shock struck back on Rialto in extra innings. So, tied up 1-1, we'll see who gets to assert dominance in the series here on King's Row.
Yeah, and this is a new little thing that we're doing. We're not going to be casting full matches anymore. We're going to take them in bite-sized chunks, maybe cover a map in one game, a map in the other, so that we get to show you guys a multitude of maps that happened over the weekend, and still get to exercise our casting skills and get that experience in. So we're looking at right now some interesting compositional differences right out of the gate. The Shock are running Architect on the Hanzo and Rascal on Symmetra. I don't know if the Symmetra will be like a permanent pick for this push, but it's interesting to see how they're going to use it. They might try to teleport past the choke, which seems highly likely. On the other hand, the Defiant just kind of running like the standard double barrier composition that we've seen this weekend with May and McCree on the DPS.
Now, Architect for the Sonica, and that means that the side of the Shock, they know Defiant are hiding in that statue. You can see them get a little bit glowed up by that ability. So now, the Defiant don't know they've been had. They probably do, which is why they go for this aggressive rotation round to make their way back towards the point, poking out against the side of the Shock. Smurf's shield gets wasted almost instantly, so he's going to have to wait 5 seconds to bring that one back. They've got no second shield, just Chervin's defense matrix. They're going to start moving aggressively onto the point. Both walls are out. Nice one from Agilities to negate the effect of Rascals, but they'll just go around it. Now Chervin's on Logic's in the backline, getting frozen up by Agilities there, and a Flash Fan comes through, the epitome of skill from Logic's. He's going to take out Chervin with the headshot, just about, though nearly fell doing that. But that's 2 ticks already acquired because there's no fighting going on point. Agilities is going to fell Smurf, who did take out Nevix, and Architect takes out Beast. There's kills coming through both ways. Logic's finds Architect, but no one gets on the point for the Defiant. The
No,
kills coming
that's
through in their favour.
yeah, that was not only that, but the Defiant just kind of allowed themselves to get pushed off the point. They kind of contested there at the end, but I mean, they just kind of let themselves off of the point. They let themselves be coerced off by the fighting. So kind of disappointing, but thankfully they've gotten a lot of their ults online or about to be online. Now, the Shock can match that for the most part, but they don't have Coalescence or the self-destruct to use against the Defiant.
Well, in they go with this coalescence. They're going to split off. Logic goes to the flank on Architect. Gets found out 35 health on that Cowboy. He's going to get finished off by Cruz, but Cruz killing him means he's got the sustain in the fight that they need, as Nevix and Agilities are both going to go down. Cruz gets hit by the Holt, and it's a Beast turn to use the Fortify just to try and stay healthy on point, but the rest of his team have fallen around him.
Yeah, that was a very quick fight, and unfortunately, I think the entire fight was lost once Logix got found out on his flank. Because, I mean, let's be honest, your main damage dealer, like you've got Agilities on the May there, but without the McCree to flank and do some shield damage and pressure the front line or the back line, either one that you want, you're not really making any progress in that fight.
This is bad news for Defiant as they can't even get onto stall and they're just going to get worked in the neutral. Beast is felled by Rascal and 2 take themselves off the edge to send the ding fight to out. And Smurf, he's going to shoot down them. Got to assert dominance on the Defiant.
I love how you called that the neutral fight, even though the supercharger went down like halfway through. Just goes to show you how unimportant the
Bongos the
supercharger
game
is.
is.
Yeah, how bongos the game is. Okay, yeah, I'll take that. Even though it's like the
It's like
best
a
ult
joke.
in the game.
Now Violet nearly gets found out by the flashbang from Logix, and he's got a Scarper quick drive with the bomb to the back. This could be
Oh, he
big.
gets
Takes
two.
out 2. Agilities invests the blizzard, but he doesn't actually freeze anyone up, and it's Beast who falls Cherubin, picking up 3 in this fight. Cruz will fall to Architect, and though Cherubin is frozen, that's just a temporary stop. And there's 4 minutes and 41 are on the clock for the Shock.
Yeah, you blink and you miss it. That round happened so incredibly quickly, and of course, Rascal calling out the C9. Not too far off from the truth. The Defiant just weren't playing around the payload the way that I think they could have. Then again, you go back to the Shock's incredible defense on their offense, pushing away the attacking team, keeping them away from the payload so that they never actually stopped moving it. during that round. But the Defiant have a tall order ahead of them. They have a lot of time that they've got to meet.
They've just got to finish. If they can finish, they're in with a slight chance of winning, but they're going to need at least a minute or so on the time bank to have any realistic hopes. I mean, what can you do? The Shock finished the map with more time than they started.
Yeah,
They
that
finished
is.
with 41 more seconds. That's nearly a whole minute
Yeah,
that they'll
that's
have over the Defiant.
exactly. That's like an extra team fight that they're going to get. That even if the Defiant are able to finish in that same time bank, if they aren't able to capture with as much time left, then that's a whole extra team fight that they're getting on top of what they would normally get from a push. So a lot of things working in the Shock's favor, and of course we're bringing out the same, very similar compositions. Actually, looks identical. I think Rascal was ended up on the May at the end of last round as well. So mirror match, with the exception of Choi Hyobin and Nevik. So the off tanks doing their own little thing here, and then Kariv on the Baptiste is, I don't know what they were gonna try to do with that. Probably use the immortality field to stay and have a presence on point.
It's aggressive in from the Shockers. They're not taking any prisoners, going right in Rascal and Smurf frontlining for the side from San Francisco. But it's Smurf full first. Crew's doing some good damage with the Lucio there. MOTH trying to replicate that onto the side of the Defiant. But a beautiful pull is in from a Beast. That's going to bring a few members of the Shock together. And overconfidence is a flimsy shield. And the Shock just found that out as they go in really deep, really fast. But it's the Defiant getting the better of them in the first fight.
Yeah, that's something that I don't think we expected to happen. I mean, to be fair to the Defiant, the Shock did push in extremely deep, and they were able to take advantage of it the way that they needed to, but I don't think I really expected them to actually win that fight, because the Shock are like the masters of aggression. That's like their motto, you know? Over aggression is their thing, and they usually always come out on top with it, but it looks like they're taking a top flank angle from behind. I want to see how this plays out for them.
The Defiant know that they're there, though. The pull in from a Beast revealed all their locations. They're just going to have to drop and play slightly more sensibly down on the low ground. Pull us in from Beast. Certainly get hit up by that accretion as well, but he'll survive just about as Nevs is doing some big damage with the Hyperspheres. Rascal doing the full force, and the payload is not going anywhere. So, Ant Matrix is out from Kariv, and that's answered by Violet's Coalescence. Blizzard in from Rascal, but he's going to be the one falling first. Flusk in from Flusk. Ooh, Flusk in from Nevix, and Choyobin's going to feel the full force of that one. Now Logic and Agility is going to start going to town. MOTH sacrifices himself on the point to Toronto. Beast's going to fortify just to survive, and Violet, he's going to pick off the last two fights in a row, and the payload's going to keep on rolling.
Yeah, so the obviously the Shock got found out before they made that drop onto the point, because it looked like the Defiant were bunched up behind that choke point, just kind of waiting for the Shock to meet them. And once they did, there was really nothing that the Shock could do, because the Defiant had already anticipated their move.
Ooh, that's
And it looks like they're
bad.
going to
That
keep
is
pushing.
bad. The supercharger is in from Smurf, but Russell gets fallen. Agility's wall is put on top of the charges. They're going to get absolutely no value out of this ultimate. Now they offer their bodies up onto the point. MOTH uses the beat, but they're already down two. This is in from Agility. Is just the icing on the cake, really, as it's going to be Smurf falling late in the fight. Beautiful shot from Agility's onto Architect at the end there, but 5 minutes on the clock. They're still going to be slower than what the Shock did.
Yeah, and to be fair to the Shock, like they understand more so than the Defiant do about stalling time off the clock. Even if they're in a lost fight scenario, they're still willing to throw bodies onto the point just to stop it from moving, which is something that the Defiant didn't do hardly at all in their defense.
An aggressive engage now via its coalescence, but Defiant just speed boost around the corner. They place the Matrix as well, just to stay nice and topped up. And then that's Violet's Coalescence out the window for this next fight. Now they're going to engage with the Flux, picking up free Nevix. But huge Flux Cruiser's sound barrier is in. Trom's going to get a free Flux though, but he might not even get to use it as MOTH gets felled by the Peacekeeper. In comes the Flux, a beautiful pull into it from Smurf. That's going to be four members lifted up, and there'll be them falling. Nevix now on the cart, and Nevix now 6 foot under.
Yeah, these guys are finally getting a few winning fights, which is exactly what they need, because now even if the Defiant were to finish this map in this next fight, if they were to wipe out the shock and get back onto the point, push it all the way to the end, they're still working with at least two fewer team fights than than the shock will have on their next attack. That's
This is
assuming the Defiant
so
even finish.
this is so aggressive from the shock, playing up in the little room, then just dumping in the blizzard on top of the Defiant. There's nothing you can do apart from just die because you can't scout that one out in a way that matters.
Yeah. So in this next fight, I assume that obviously the Defiant are kind of working with their supercharger and the Deadeye. So if they can set up a good angle for Logix, they could potentially pop down that supercharger. But Smurf is going to be meeting it, and they're going to be investing all of their ults. That's what the Shock have in their advantage, is a lot of ults. Oh, and he gets
Oh,
taken out of
so
his. Mm,
so aggressive from the shock. It's Toronto's spawn, not yours, you monsters. In they go deep again, and they engaged hard with the speed boost around the corner, and yet again it pays dividends as it's going to be another flux online for Trobe, and this man is a monster on Sigma.
yeah, he honestly is, but they're playing aggressive and they're not giving the Defiant a chance to take advantage of their ultimates. Now, they have a clear advantage in this next fight. They have four ults to the Shock's two. They just have to use them correctly and not let the Shock take advantage of like positional errors or, uh, just simple mistakes like that, which is something that they've let them do so far.
Russell's getting split off here. He's going to get pulled back in. Flux in from Nevix. Can he find value? Nope, he's going to get accreted right out of it, if that is a word. Logic's on this off angle. Looking for a head to click, but Architect's finding far more joy with the McCree. Taking out Beast with a lovely shot to the dome, and it's another retreat in for the Defiant. This is getting desperate for them now.
Yeah, it really is, because you're down to 2 minutes. You used all of your ultimates, all four that you had online, and now you're wasting the charge you had on a fifth one when Logix goes over to the Hanzo. You're just giving so many advantages to the Shock that it's not even funny at this point. Like, you guys have to make a move, right? And they have to do it in the neutral because they don't really have a choice. But with the Shock continuing to pressure them down with ultimates, like, they can't take a fair fight at all.
Nope. And now Rascal, he's hiding on the high ground of the best. He's going to drop it out onto Beast and Cruz. Cruz used the mortality field. Just stay up a little bit longer, but it's kills coming in. Creve and Troyobin. Creve and Logic's even taking out Troyobin and Architect. Now they can move their way onto the cut. Logic with the Storm Arrow to the skull. Rascal feels that one in his bones. And Violet, he's not going to last too much longer on the Moira. I wouldn't think so. And Logic's Hanzo proving valuable, as well as Creve's Zen, which has already got a Transcendence online, so they could finish this out here and now.
Ooh,
Ooh,
and right out of spawn. That's disgusting, Logix. Come on, man. Play fair, play fair. This is still a fair match.
is it though? Was it ever? Now, pull it in from Smurf, looking to fight aggressive, but the Blitz from Agility just zones him out this still area. Trobin getting frozen up, and Logic's again finding something with the Hanzo going to chuck the Dragon Strike just to zone Trobin out into the fray and out to his demise. I've known now. Architect falls to Nevix. Troyobin, well, he's gone. Moth stalling out on the cart for as long as he can. Any time off the clock is good. They'll finish with 23 seconds left, bumped up to a minute, but the Shock have over 5.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, no team has 5 minutes to finish King's Row's second attack. Like, far too rarely do we see time getting added when you go into the next set of rounds. But here the Shock are. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was the second fastest King's Row attack time ever recorded in the league.
It's nuts. The Shock are just playing out of their minds at the moment. The Defiant, they really need to have a good attack. They definitely need to capture the first point because you can't hold the Shock for 5 minutes.
No, they have to not only capture, I think it's going to be dependent on them to not only capture the first point, but basically make it to the end of the map if you possibly can, pushing it in overtime. That's a tall order for them. Like, they can't lose a single fight. But when push comes to shove, they don't really have a choice in the matter. You either roll over to your Shock overlords, or you put up a fight and hope that it's enough to hold them off with a 5 minute, 17-second time bank.
Absolutely.
Because
The Defiant, they got to play well here.
Yeah, because the Shock finished King's Row the first time in less than 5 minutes and 17 seconds. So asking them to do it again is not too far off.
Nope. No, they're going back to the Kree, not the Hans that they ran at the end of the last round. The shot they might do is aggressive defense again as Rascal's in deep, but Smurf gets punished almost instantly. Smurf and Moth now down for the side of the Shark and Kareev. He's going to move forward with his SMG as well, or LMG, whatever it is, I don't know, guns, and Cherubin has to flee with his life. Defiant winning in the neutral. They need to do this a lot more, though, as Logix just gets a late kill onto Violet. He'll drop the Twinings there, but
Yeah,
20 seconds on the clock.
so obviously this first fight plays to their strengths, right? Because fighting in the neutral is, I guess, their strong point or their strong suit because it looks like most of the fights they've won have been non-ult fights. But once the Shock are able to get ults online, whether Toronto can match them or outmatch them with those ults, oh no. Oh
It's another high ground
no,
hold.
another
It's
high
so
ground.
cheeky.
Okay, are they? What are they looking
They
for?
can't leave this point.
They can't. What's gonna happen?
They might drop in behind them.
I guess they're getting in position. I guess the Defiant are getting in
They go
position, but
in
no,
from
they're not.
behind. They're flanking. Agilities walls them off to just stem the bleeding that they might cause. A three-man flashbang is in. Coalescence out from Violet. They've got to make this work here and now of that investment, but Troy Urban's going to lose the mech to the Deadeye. Good use of that ultimate. The ultimate there. Now Architect is on the flank looking for some damage, but Nevik spots him out, and Agilities will win the May battle. This has gone from bad to worse for the side of the Shock. Architect gets felled by the accretion, and now Agilities, he's set on permafreeze. Moth's going to fall as well, and Smurf dies to the May as well. Turbin stalls out for as long as he can. He has no reason to, though. It's an overtime, and that's a convincing fight win with 5 ults online now for the Defiant.
They had to. Okay, that could have worked. Let's just take a moment to realize that had it not been for decent neutral fights again between the Defiant or for the Defiant, the Shock could have won because they looked completely taken aback by the Shock's drop there. Like, it didn't look like they knew the entire team was there. But how do you not know? That was such
Not
a weird
sure.
fight. Like that was the most odd thing I've seen this round.
Agilities just drops in with the Blizzard, and that is goodbye to the Shock. Rascal, well, he's probably quite a dizzy Rascal now after getting hit to the head by the Hypersphere, and 2 points gathered for the Defiant. How far can they go with this?
It's looking like they're about to push it all the way to the end pair. I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to make it all the way to the end with how confidently they're playing right now. They don't look like they're about to drop a fight, and the Shock haven't made them look a little flimsy in any way. So they should win this fight, no problem. Pulling them away from their supercharger.
Takedowns
But
in
and
mid-air!
Nevix goes down though. So without your off tank,
Halfway through his flux, no value from that one, and the rest Defiant get rolled over.
that was disappointing. I mean,
No,
I was
disgusting is what that was.
fair enough. It was both. I mean, as a Toronto fan, I'm sure you were devastated by that. But
Ah, it was
there was nothing there to be ashamed of, though. They ran out of time, but look at how far they pushed it.
no. This is holdable. They've given themselves a decent shot at victory here, but they're going to need to have some incredible defenses.
Yeah, they definitely are. Their defense, some key points that they're going to need to watch for. Their defense on point A has to be on point. They have to hold them off for maybe 1, 2 fights, right? Even then, you're still kind of working on the edge there, giving them still another like 3.5 minutes to push the cart. You have to have a good defense at point B. If you can hold them prior to that, like right around there where they are right now, even better for you. But they absolutely cannot allow the Shock to get any distance in point C, right? That's going to be like the nail in the coffin, is if the Shock are able to push to point C without much trouble and are still looking like they're going to be able to push it, then the Defiant won't have a chance.
No, so it might be dive, it might be bunker. Smurf keeps on trying to get up here as Orisa. This is funny to watch. Is he going to be switching over to the horse from the Winston? He will be, but Architect is on the Hanzo. He's just going to scout out the Defiance position and go over to the Kree. It's a mirror match apart from the off tanks again, so let's see what they can get done on their attack. The Shock. Going to be going in aggressive onto the Defiant, who are holding quite far up as it is. It's a nice one in from Rascal to separate them off. He falls low, though. Now it's a full-on retreat for the side of Defonto. No shielding available, though, for the shocks, so I have to be careful. Force into rotating into that little building for now. Good pull comes in from Smurf, but it's Violet who fall. Logic's showing his prominence on this McCree. He goes around the back for a flank. Rascal gets felled by Lucio and Cruz. He's going to roll back into the hotel here. Logic's looking for a couple of shots onto Architect at the end here. Finish off the Cowboy now, boy. And that is a good first hole for Defiant.
That's exactly what they needed. They're down to 4.5 minutes. That was about a minute-long fight, right? That took, if we're rounding the time it's going to take them to reset, get back to the point, and all of the fighting time, about a minute. If they can consistently keep doing this, if they can keep winning those fights, again, this was a fight in the neutral, so good for them. That's kind of the thing that they're good at. But if they can keep this up, they can drain a ton of time off the clock. But it looks like they're allowing themselves to get pushed back again. They can't keep doing that with all the damage coming in. It's not. Well, they're done. Yeah. Well, I spoke too soon.
Agilities gets a nice little kill there at the end. It's good of the Shock to donate to these greater teams, not lesser teams. Defiant are obviously better than the Shock. We know this. But
sure.
They lost the fight, but they've got a few ultimates for the next one, so it's not all doom and gloom for the Defiant.
No, definitely not. So they burned quite a bit of time off. I think I got the number about right at the beginning, about 3.5 minutes to push the payload after they captured point A. So they managed to drain enough time off the clock to make this still a little bit realistic, but it's still going to be pretty tough for them to keep this. Oh, they're going up. The Shock are going up, look. I don't know if you saw that, but they're set up waiting for them. Guys?
It's over, Defiant.
No,
we have the high ground and they drop in. But Agilities gets the Blizzard off quickly. The beat is in from Cruz as well, but it's Agility's falling even with all of that invested. Rascal's Blizzard is a little bit better, and his May performance is just there more as Architect will clean up house with the McCree. And that's bad for the Defiant, using 2 ults and not getting any value.
I know I said it in the last round, but how did Defiant not know that they were there? Like, they must have seen them. I mean, I know they saw the McCree, but I guess maybe they just assumed it was an Architect flank and didn't worry too much about it. Because they were setting up, like Orisa or Beast was setting up for that choke defense. So I don't understand. Okay, I guess they just didn't see them. That was really disappointing. That was okay.
Violet's using a Coalescence and the Defiant. We're going to have to touch the slate. Only 2 meters left for the payload to travel. As in they go, but into the flux they funnel. Choban picks up Beast with the help of Architect. Beast is out from Moth to counter Nevix's, but it's Architect falling. Now there's an all-out brawl on the cut. Agilities falls to Moth, and Russell's going to look to take out Logic as the skill orb from Violet finishing that one off. Nevix gets felled by his opposing Sigma, but this is all important time off the clock. They're going to have 1 minute 50 to get half of C.
Yeah, so this round is looking more and more like it's going to go in the Shock's favor. The Defiant have to get a really good fight here to restabilize on the point, and then continue to hold it for another minute or so. Because once you win this fight, you'll have about a minute left. So they have to hope for a good engagement here, and it looks like they're going to get it. Violet's down.
And then Rascal fall as well.
They're down 3 members. Oh no.
Boom!
Moth! Oh my god! Moth, you beast! You got him! Oh my god.
He picks up 3 with the environmental kill, channeling just his inner Lucio there. 3 off the map, 3 dead. Agility's going to fall now. Beast is back on the ball, can even tag in. Cruz doing in from the side room, just goes in for the slam to survive. Cruz nearly has his Coalescence, but he gets felled. Cruz and Beast, last man standing, hit by the Holt. Logic takes out Rascal though, so it's not entirely lost just yet. Never uses the kinetic grasp. He's halfway to his flux. If he can build this up, that would be big, but it's 1 in from Choban, picking him up and slamming him down. Moth uses the beat, and the Blizzard is in from Agilities. Can he find any value? He does freeze up the Lucio, but he's not going to finish him off. The sustain is too great. He does in the end, but now this is just bodies tumbling onto the point now. Agilities is going to get felled here. He uses the Ice Block just to stay healthy, and Beast looking to spin to win, but that was just a sin from him as Rascal's Blizzard comes out, and it hurts to see.
I actually flung my headphones off of my head when that play happened. Mitch's face is just mine right now. That's
Moth has booped Mitch horizontal.
Yeah, they were down 3. The Shock by no means should the Shock have won that. And I don't know if that was a lucky halt into the boop or if that was coordinated. But whatever it worked.
Oh, what a thing. Just,
That
can we
was
stop now? I don't like to think about this.
I don't
Can that
either.
be?
That was insane.
My Toronto tears are welling yet again.
I feel it. I'm not even a Toronto fan, and I'm like, I'm going to cry. That was so devastating. Like, you never want to see something like that happen to any team, but that just goes to show you Moth is a fantastic support, like top 10 indeed. Probably top
10, top
5.
5.
Yeah, probably top 5. What a
Wow.
map. Well,
That
what? That
that was.
that was yeah, that was. But thank you guys
God.
so much for watching. That's going to be Kings Row between the Toronto Defiant and San Francisco Shock. If you guys enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button down below so that you can get more of these types of videos. Like the video so that we start appearing more in the recommendeds to other people. And comment. Tell us what you think about this. If you specifically about that Moth play. I want to hear about that Moth play, what kind of reactions you guys had when it happened. I think we're going to get some good answers. But in the meantime, I am Sferno, and this has been Pear.
It was an honor, a pleasure until the end there to cast this one.
It really, really was. But this has been Back Caps and Bad Casts. I probably said that backwards. From the Fruit Bowl cast, thank you guys so much for watching. Adios.